The Crimean peninsula, occupied by Russia in 2014, is part of the Russian air defense system, which also covers Novorossiysk. That is why it flies at certain objects in the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. This was stated on air by the Director of Security Programs at the Strategy 21 Globalistics Center, Pavel Lakiychuk. He was asked what losses the Russian Federation has suffered recently due to attacks on its military facilities located in Crimea, in particular in the context of the destruction of Russian targets, including a landing craft and the newest Yenisei radar. Here we need to distinguish, so to speak, into two parts. The first is the enemy's grouping of forces in Crimea, its permanent deployment points. Those parts of the Russian army that were concentrated there after 2014 to prepare an attack on Ukraine. It is against them that the strikes are carried out, the expert said. The second part, noted Lakiychuk, is the understanding that the Crimean peninsula is an important part of the layered air defense system created by the enemy, the expert emphasized. Western Crimea is the first air defense echelon for the entire south of Russia. In order to strike Novorossiysk, Kuban, Krasnodar, eastern Crimea, it is necessary to break through this defense system. Therefore, according to him, first of all, it flies to Yevpatoria, Tarkankut to Fiolent, a plant in Simferopol, which before the occupation was the largest manufacturer of power tools in Ukraine and Eastern Europe, and after 2014 was nationalized by the aggressor. They are striking at the enemy airfield in Saki, Gvardeskoy, added Lakiychuk. Let us recall that recently in the temporarily occupied Crimea, Ukrainian intelligence officers destroyed several Russian radar stations and hit a landing craft. It was said that the enemy radars in domes, the landing craft, and the air defense base on Aipetri were in the crosshairs. It later became known that the targets included the latest Yenisei radar, which is the standard radar for the S-500 Prometheus air defense system. This radar passed state tests to 2022. The Yenisei station is based on a multi-element, interference-resistant active phased antenna array, which allows tracking hypersonic targets moving at altitudes of up to 120 kilometers at speeds of up to 4,800 m/s. In fact, the system intercepts low-orbit space targets.
Aerial video footage showed a rapidly spreading wildfire 21 kilometers outside the Spanish capital Madrid on Monday. According to Associated Press, the fire was believed to have started around 1945 local time, Monday, on the outskirts of the Tres Cantos commuter town, north of Madrid. A new complex of apartment blocks was in the trajectory of the flames. The fire was burning mainly scrub and grassland, but strong winds were quickly spreading the flames. A total of 12 fire engines and 3 helicopters were sent to the area, according to regional authorities. At 2300 hours local time, the emergency services advised that a man had been rescued with 98% burns to his body. He was flown by helicopter to a local hospital, and the circumstances of his injuries were not immediately clear.
Sí, aquí sí. Vamos, David. David, vamos para el palacio. Vamos para el palacio.
Y hermano, las casas ardiendo, loco. Qué puta locura, bro. Mira qué locura. Qué locura, bro. Qué locura. Y qué locura, Samari. Y yo va a salir a arder todo, loco.
Y aquí estamos, mándame.
Sí, aquí sí. Vamos, David. David, vamos para el palacio. Vamos para el palacio.
Y yo, hermano, las casas ardiendo, loco. Qué puta locura, bro. Y yo, qué locura. Qué locura, bro. Qué locura. Y yo, qué locura, Samari. Y yo va a salir a arder todo, loco.
Y aquí estamos, mándame.
Sí, aquí sí. Vamos, David. David, vamos para el palacio. Vamos para el palacio.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz believes that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky should be invited to the meeting of US and Russian leaders Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in Alaska on August 15. Merz announced that he would speak by phone with Trump about his planned meeting with Putin in Alaska. "We are intensively preparing for this meeting at the European level together with the American government. And we hope and assume that the government of Ukraine, President Zelensky, will be involved in this meeting. In any case, we cannot agree that territorial issues between Russia and America are discussed or even decided over the heads of Europeans and Ukrainians," he added. "I assume the American government sees it the same way, which is why there is such close coordination," Merz said. "We hope for a breakthrough on August 15. First of all, for there to finally be a ceasefire. And for the possibility of peace talks in Ukraine," Merz said in an interview with the TV channel ARD. He recalled that the conflict in Ukraine has been going on for 3.5 years. "It's time to put an end to it," the German Chancellor emphasized. He expressed hope that a decision on a ceasefire could be reached at the meeting. "And this is long overdue. This is a diplomatic initiative. We are constantly called upon not only to supply weapons, but also to put forward diplomatic initiatives," Merz said. "Europeans do not want and should not be spectators when it comes to the most important strategic issue for the future of Europe. And that is why we hope for this. We are working on this," he continued. "In any case, we cannot allow territorial issues to be discussed or even resolved between Russia and America bypassing the Europeans and Ukrainians. I believe that the American government shares this point of view," the German Chancellor summed up, adding that, "This is precisely why there is such close coordination. This will continue in the coming days. We will continue this in Berlin as well," he concluded.